Nothing you can tell me about Memphis.
From the boardroom to the streets.
Now I already know.
With Mike from Memphis, man. Together we can fix things. Really?
When you say I want to be treated fairly, and I want a voice.
Yeah.
I want.
He saw things weren't fair, so he chose to run for mayor. You get up and do something when you really care. It's Memphis 360.
I'm with you. In the meantime,
It's Memphis 360.
in the meantime, in between time, we got folks shooting people up out the frame. Anybody said a word. We've become
Man.
accustomed to people dying in this city.
Yeah. It's Memphis 360.
Turning the TV on and the news and see our loved ones and see young people that are out of control. And now you see, okay. We talk about incarceration. We talk about the youth. We talk about giving them the ability. We talk about investing in young people and investing in the community. See, I hate ignorance. I hate when people make decisions about things and they make statements and they haven't done their research.
How can you fix the problem when you don't even know what the problem is?
We need some help in this city.
It's Memphis 360.
See, I hate ignorance.
It's Memphis 360. Man.
And welcome back. Good evening. This is Memphis 360, the television show we say we like to go from the boardroom to the streets. I know I've been absent for a week or two. I had to take a mental break. Just so much going on, not only just in the city of Memphis, but around the world and in everybody's life. Everybody's being affected by things that are occurring here in the city of Memphis, across the seas, around the United States. It's just a lot going on. You know, let's first of all talk about what's going on over in the Gaza Strip and with Israel. Israel is poised to launch a ground attack in the Gaza Strip. We know that Israel has launched rockets into Israel, and I don't know if we are ready for modern day war. And because of the availability of a lot of news media outlets, we are actually seeing firsthand children that are being killed, females that are being killed. You know, that's not something that I think Americans are ready for or have been used to when it comes to war. Me being a combat veteran from the Iraqi war, I was not ready for a lot of the things that I saw as a Army soldier at that particular time. And now it's being telecast live all over the world. You wake up in the morning, this is what you see on the news. You see hospitals that are running over with casualties. You see bodies that are laying out in the streets. You know, all of this starts to take a mental toll on a lot of people. And it's happening. You know, it's almost surreal. You think it's not happening. You feel as though you're in a dream, but it is happening for real. What's up, Dwayne Young? But I'm going to tell you that there are so many things that are transpiring all across the globe. You know, when we look over at the Russians and all of the things that they're doing, and they're saying that because of the war that they have going on, that Russia may be on the verge of bankruptcy. You know, and all of that's going to lead to chaos. It's like the ripple effect. All of that leads to chaos all over the world. What affects Russia affects the United States. What affects the United States affects China. What affects China affects Korea. What affects Korea, Taiwan. What affects Taiwan, and so on and so on and so on, the ripple effect. What's going on, Terry? The ripple effect. So the war that's happening over in Israel, yes, the United States is definitely vested. We have warships off the coast. We're sending additional troops to that area. You know, and I was watching, and a lot of people are saying, okay, if we're going to dedicate resources over in the war with Russia, if we're going to dedicate resources over into Israel and the Gaza Strip, what about all of the things that are happening here in the United States? Why are we not dedicating a lot of those billions and billions and billions of dollars to shoring up what's happening here in the United States? And then we talk about the influx of individuals that are coming across the border down in Texas and Mexico, and the flood of immigrants that are coming into this country. It used to be a thing with the conservatives in regards to a lot of the individuals that are coming into this country, but now you even have individuals that are Democrats and liberals that are concerned because you don't know who coming across the border. You know, a lot of times you could have terrorists that are actually coming across the border into the United States that are flooding a lot of the Democratic cities, they're sending bus loads of individuals up to Chicago and DC and Houston and possibly here in the city of Memphis as well. I'm not sure. But that is becoming a primary concern of a lot of people. And it should be, first of all, because we already have issues here in the United States with when you talk about poverty, when you talk about individuals in the inner city, when you talk about crime, that is a major issue. So now we have all of these immigrants that are coming across the border into the United States, and a lot of them have not been vetted. We don't know if they are terrorists. We don't know if they're individuals, misfits that those countries did not want. We don't know if they were gang members in those countries. We don't know if they were cartel in those countries. We don't know what they were. But now they're migrating and being bussed into a lot of the major cities here in the United States. So that's a problem. That's a problem, and that's an issue that we all have to deal with. Now, I definitely wanted to rotate into the crime that is occurring here in the city of Memphis. Wow. We have so much going on here in the city of Memphis to whereas, you know, it is becoming overwhelming for a lot of people. I want to first talk about today in 201 Poplar. An inmate was killed while they were being transported to court inside the building. And it was a young man named Dion Bird. He was 25 years old. Mr. Bird was waiting to be transported into court, and he was actually killed by another inmate. And this inmate had a makeshift knife, and the individual stabbed Mr. Bird supposedly 3 times in the neck. Mr. Bird was heard saying, "Please don't let me die," as he was being transported out of the courtroom and being led to medical attention. How does this happen? How do an individual that was in jail, how is he able to get a weapon, a makeshift knife, they call it a shank in jail, how is he able to get that weapon, first of all, from the jail? Because I'm not a jailer, I'm not on the sheriff department, but I heard that the process is a lot of those guys are strip searched before they leave the jail, and as they're being transported supposedly to court or what have you, and then as they return to jail, this is what I hear, they're strip searched again to make sure that they're not taking something back into the jail. So how does this individual gets a hold of a knife, a shank? How is he able to get to another inmate that is waiting to go into court themselves? How does this happen? It is beyond me how something this egregious could happen. And when you think about, okay, so if this individual had a shank on him, he had the ability to possibly hurt someone that was in the courtroom. He had the possibility of harming someone one of the jailers. He had the possibility of harming one of the deputy sheriffs. He had the possibility of doing so many things and so much damage to individuals, innocent people, at any time along the way. But he decided to harm Mr. Dion Byrd. Now, I'm going to tell you why this one is kind of near and dear and close. I know Mr. Dion's father. As a matter of fact, prior to coming to the taping of my show, I stopped by his father's house, which is Mr. Marcus Byrd. I stopped by his house just to let him know that, we are definitely with him. He's in our prayers, because this is not the first child that Mr. Byrd and his wife have lost to violence in this city or to a homicide. He had another son who was killed approximately 2 years ago, October the 10th. His son was killed. And here it is, 2 years later, October 26, 2023, he had another son that was a victim of homicide in this city, the city of Memphis. And we talk about all the time, all of the things that are occurring in this city. I don't know of too many people that have not been touched by crime in one way or another, one shape, form, or fashion. But to have a family that has been affected twice in 2 years, that's unimaginable to me. I cannot fathom. And one of the reasons I went to Mr. Byrd's home was I had to put my eyes on Mr. Byrd. I had to make sure that he was okay, that his family's okay. And they're not okay. They're not okay right now. It is very surreal. And that's the word that he used to describe how he felt. He said he felt like he was in a dream and he was hoping to wake up because he could not imagine his 25-year-old son being killed in this manner. And he had another son who was also a victim of homicide approximately 2 years ago, and for it to occur in the same month. And I also learned today that both of them, their lives were taken when they were 25 years old. So when he lost his other son 2 years ago, he was 25 years old. And now it's his other son, Dion Byrd, and his son has been killed. He is definitely asking for answers to what has happened. At the time that I left his home, one of his primary concerns was he still had not been notified officially that his son had been killed. He's seen it on the news. As a matter of fact, if you watch, I believe it's Channel 3, him and his wife did an interview with the reporters from Channel 3, and they still had not been notified that his son had passed or that his son had been killed in the jail. What I am hearing is that he was informed that his son had been the victim of a homicide by his son's attorney, who was down at the courthouse or 201 Poplar with him, waiting for him to be escorted into the courtroom. Our hearts and our prayers go out to Mr. Byrd and his family. And we definitely want to let them know that if there's anything that we can do, you know, as I sat there and I tried to think of what words do you tell somebody that has lost two of their sons to homicides in this city. Not only what do you tell someone that has lost one son, but what do you tell somebody that has lost two sons to homicides in this city in less than 2 years? As I sat there, I didn't know what to say. You know, you just kind of want to be present and to let them know that you care about them and that you feel for what they're going through. And you just kind of want to pray for them that everything is going to be okay. So we have Mr. Byrd and his family that are now mourning the loss of their son, Mr. Dion Byrd, who was killed at 201 Poplar while waiting to go into court today. I think in watching the news, the reporter stated that they had definitely spoke with Judge Scan, and Judge Scan was giving her accounts of what was going on, what they heard. They heard screaming in the back in the holding area where the prisoners are held, and chaos broke out in the courtroom. What's up, Jackson Baker? Chaos broke out in the courtroom, and it was determined that an inmate had been stabbed. And they brought Mr. Dion Byrd out and was trying to get him to medical attention. You would think that an individual that is around so many police officers, so many deputy sheriffs, that he would be safe. Nobody wants to bury a child. Nobody wants to bury a child. And to have your child who is a victim of a homicide within the jail system, that's got to be even worse. That's just a hard thing to deal with. It is, okay? And I just want to say in saying that, you know, the number to call is 901-244-6874, 901-244-6874. What are we going to do about this crime? I'm hearing that the incoming mayor, Mr. Paul Young, is actually kind of lining up with a lot of the things that Mr. Strickland already has in place. He's already said that he's going to finish a lot of the economic development that is being done in this city that Mayor Strickland has started. So I'm assuming that that's going to be inclusive of the $750 million projects that they have going on over in the fairgrounds area, with the renovations of Liberty Road Stadium, possibly building a soccer stadium and different things like that. I am also hearing that he is lining up with a lot of the other initiatives that Mr. Strickland has in place. The only thing I'm going to say to that is, evidently it has not worked. So I am hoping and knowing that Mr. Paul Young is a young, innovative, creative individual, Very smart young man. I am hoping that he is going to put together a team that's going to be able to address the crime in this city. Because as I woke up this morning, I saw that there had been 2 individuals that were shot out there on Winchester. Sitting in a car drives by, and just like when I was talking about what was going on in Israel over in the Gaza Strip, live, you know, they had actual video footage of a car pulling up and firing on another car. 2 individuals in the car were struck. 1 individual succumbed to his injuries later on at the hospital. It said 1 individual had been transported to the med critical, and I just found it kind of interesting that another individual that was in the vehicle with him was actually transported by private vehicle to the hospital. But the individual that remained on the scene and the ambulance had to transport, he was actually pronounced dead at the hospital. But things like this are happening so frequently here in the city of Memphis, we don't even get excited about it anymore. It's kind of like a common day occurrence. You know, people are becoming numb to the violence and the crime that is occurring in this city, but it also means that individuals are being psychologically affected by things that are happening in this city. There are so many things that are happening in this city. You know, when I look at on yesterday, out in Frazier at the Horizon Bank, First Horizon Bank, someone attempted to rob the bank in broad daylight. These individuals are getting so brazen in what they do. They don't care. They don't care if the police is there. They don't care if armed security guards are there. They don't care, because in that attempt to rob the First Horizon Bank on yesterday, the security guard was actually shot. The security guard was shot, I believe, in the leg. And in their attempts to shoot back at the security guard, I think all of the windows, or the front windows of the bank, was actually shot out. But can you imagine going into First Horizon trying to cash your check? Going into First Horizon to withdraw some money? Going into First Horizon just to conduct your day-to-day business? You need to go to the ATM, and things like this are happening? It's becoming more and more of a threat to citizens' public safety on a daily basis. It's becoming more and more of a threat to hardworking individuals that are trying to live their lives to the best of their ability. They're trying to do the things that society deems as the norm, that are trying to work hard every day, save their money, have a decent quality of life, and it's become so crazy that a lot of people don't want to work. You know, I was watching the news this morning as well, and they were talking about how restaurants are starting to close. And they attributed it to possibly the increase in the price of food. They attributed it to not being able to fully recover after COVID-19. But what they also attributed it to was not being able to get stable staff, individuals that want to work, individuals that want to come in every day and to work a job. But we're seeing that all across all different areas here in the city of Memphis. When we talk about government, it's very hard for a lot of government agencies to maintain individuals. It's hard. I think they said they had like a 40-something% truancy rate when it comes to the young people that are attending high school. And they're attributing possibly a lot of the crime to that as well. If they're not going to school, what are they doing with their time? If they're not in a classroom, where are they and what are they doing? And we see that juvenile crime has increased dramatically in this city. Some of the notes that I got, it said that aggravated assaults are up 24% here in the city of Memphis. Homicides are currently up 39% here in the city of Memphis. And this is no surprise, auto thefts are up 76% here in the city of Memphis. I think the last numbers that I got, there had been almost 8,000, 9,000 cars that had been stolen here in the city of Memphis. And that was the last numbers that I reported. And that was a couple of months ago. So that number has only increased because on a daily basis, we see individuals that are being victimized when it comes to their cars. I thought I just saw something where over at the University of Memphis, young students trying to go to school, trying to get an education, once again, trying to do the right thing. There had been about 30 to 40 cars that had been broken into over at the University of Memphis. That goes back to nobody wants to work. They want to just take. Nobody wants to put the sweat equity in. They want to just take. I'm all for giving individuals a second chance when you make a mistake in life. But it's getting to the point to whereas it's becoming a way of life and not necessarily something that you just do to get by, or you made a mistake, or you were hanging out with the wrong crowd, or you just being mischievous. That's not what this is. What this is individuals are taking it upon themselves to say, I'm not going to work. I'm just going to take what I want. That individual is working hard as all get out, 2, 3 jobs. But I'm going to take what they have. Let those squares do what they do, and I'm going to take what they have. There was a young lady found dead on a barge the other day. And I know I'm giving you all this sad stuff. But we got to start coming to the realization that this is what's happening here in the city of Memphis. And you better understand that we better get either individuals in place that are going to provide the leadership to be able to deal with this crime. Because the individuals that are suffering from all of the crime are hardworking citizens, evidently young students that are trying to get an education so that they can continue to keep the United States in the forefront when it comes to technology, when it comes to science, when it comes to all of those different things. You know, you're sending your kids off to learn a vocation, learn a profession. So now they're stressed out with exams, they stressed out with being away from home, they stressed out with, you know, just trying to make it. I can remember being a college student and just, God, you know, don't get me wrong, I had a ball in college. But at the same time, you know, you didn't have all the money that you needed, so you had to eke out what you could to get by. We all contributed what we had to each other to be able to sustain, but it's still a lot of pressure. So the added pressure is the crime. Then we had the mass shooting up in Massachusetts. God, I think we had this individual, and last I heard, he is still on the loose. Still on the loose. Shot 18 people, wounded like 12, 13, 14. And mass shootings are becoming more and more frequent as time goes on. It's like either, and the first thing they said, I heard this twice today. When they were talking about the individual who was a mass shooter, supposedly he's an Army vet, and he had been hospitalized for mental trauma. So he was dealing with issues. But what I also heard someone say today, also in regards to the individual that stabbed Mr. Dion Byrd, was that he looked as though he was mentally challenged as well. But let's think about this. When we talk about our kids, when we talk about even us, there are some of us that have post-traumatic stress disorder. You're afraid to go into Kroger. You're afraid to go to the ATM. You're afraid to go get gas. You're afraid to just be out in public. You don't want to go to a lot of public events. You're becoming reclusive. You're staying at home because you don't want to have to deal with what's going on. When you got people that are being killed on the expressway, and they say expressway shootings are down. But when I looked at the news and I saw the way that car pulled up to that other car and they just started firing on that car, that could be me. That could be me sitting at a gas station. That could be me in the Kroger parking lot. That can be me at a baseball game. That could be me going down to watch the Grizzlies. Everybody's being victimized all over the place, and it is becoming too commonplace. Our school children are traumatized and afraid. They don't feel safe. How can they function when they can't relax? Thank you for that comment, Kenneth Allen. Anybody got anything they want to contribute? The number to call is 901-244-6874. 901-244-6874. I want to thank you guys that have joined in on Facebook. I finally got my Facebook page. Well, this is a different Facebook page. Somebody hacked my other page. I had 24,000 followers on my other page, but somebody hacked it right before the election, and I'm pissed about it. So I have another page. And I want to thank you guys for following me over to this page. Something has to be done about this crime. Mike Williams don't have all of the answers. I don't think any individual is going to have all of the answers. I think it's going to take us as a community collectively to fix the problems that are going on here in the city of Memphis. After everything that I have said, I always tell you that Memphis is a beautiful city. Memphis has so many amenities, so many attributes. But it's getting very hard to enjoy the attributes here in the city of Memphis when you're traumatized. It's getting hard to enjoy the attributes here in the city of Memphis when you're being affected. When you have individuals that are out here doing what they want to do, we want the best for our children. We don't want to see our children harmed. We want our children to succeed. We want our younger generation to go further than we have ever dreamed or dreamt that we can go. The schools could be so much better. Opportunities are so much better if they would only apply themselves. But it all starts in the home. Parents have to stop wanting to be a friend to their child. Parents have to start holding their children accountable. If he's bringing money into the house and he has a gun, that's not a good thing, parent. If he has drugs around the house, that's not a good thing, parents. Too many people are going along to get along. So now you have a son that's out there at the trap house. He's selling, he's doing this, he's doing that. And oftentimes you turn the cheek because he's bringing money into the house. But there are a lot of consequences that come along with that. And at some point, we have to come together collectively to stop what's occurring in our community. And it's only going to stop when we come together to say enough is enough. And we have to have those in leadership that are using the resources that are available to them, provided by our tax dollars, because we are taxpayers, to increase and to enhance the quality of life that we have as citizens of the city of Memphis. You know, sometimes I get frustrated. I really and truly do. What'd you say? Keep them locked up and no bail? I don't know if you can do that. I really don't know if you can do that. They say everybody's innocent until proven guilty, and they have to have their day in court. And then you have the ACLU and some other organizations that say bail cannot be used as a punitive measure. They've actually went to court on that, okay? So there are a lot of people fighting for the rights of individuals that are out here committing these crimes, and I think that that's the problem. You know, they don't know how to separate when you have an incident like George Floyd that occurs. Guess what? Those individuals need to be prosecuted. I was a police officer for 20-some years, and I didn't condone that, didn't agree with it, wasn't going to say I don't care about no blue line, pink line, green line. That was wrong. But we as adults, we have to be able to say, if a criminal commits a crime, they need to be held accountable for the crimes that they commit. If a police officer commits a crime, they need to be held accountable for the crimes and the atrocities that they commit upon the citizens of whatever city. But we have to be adult enough and grown enough to be able to differentiate between the two and not try to lump everything into one category. Hey, I just wanted to come to you real quick today. I finally got a live back up. I couldn't even go live. I had to post SVP TV live, and ain't nothing wrong with that. But at the same token, I'm used to getting thousands of hits, and I wasn't getting but 3 on SVP TV. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, Miss Debbie. I'm just kidding, Miss Debbie. Hey, man, I want to thank you guys so much once again. It took a lot for me to come in here tonight because I wasn't, you know, when you have individuals that are being affected by things that are occurring, it traumatically affects you too because you have an attachment to those people. And, you know, I normally come in here, hey, what's up? It's Mike Williams. We just go have a good time and what's going on? I ain't want to do that today. Before I leave, I do want to tell you there's an upcoming concert. It's on October 29th, 5 p.m. It's Kevin Davison and the Voices, but they're going to have Ernest Pugh, Marquez Curtis, Misha Pirtle, K.J. Willis, the Echo Airs, Vincent Tharp, the Forever Culture, and it's going to be in Moscow, Tennessee. It's going to be at the Limit Breaker Church, 6720 East Rains Road, 5 p.m., October 29th. And VIP seating is $50. General admission is $25. So if you get an opportunity, go out there and hang out with Kevin Davison and those guys and have yourself a Holy Ghost good time and all of that good stuff, all right? So once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Memphis 360. It has been a plum-pleasing pleasure. And until next week, same time, same location, be blessed, be strong, be encouraged, and we will see you next week. Choose.
Can you actually imagine hosting your next event at the all-new SVP Banquet and Event Center? Yes, spacious, beautiful venue with plenty of parking, located